You could have been the foreign kid at college in one of the shows.
I could be the Luke.
Yeah. Yes, you could be Luke. Okay, so how do we introduce ourselves?
I was gonna say like, hi, I'm Pao,
I'm Simi.
and this is the first episode of SEApopcast.
SEApopcast.
So this is a new project we're starting. We want to start a podcast just talking about all the things we love in our home region of Southeast Asia, because we feel like it's been
Underappreciated,
but also it's been up and coming.
but not talked about.
Untalked about, yes.
Yes.
Only if you're in the circles.
That's true.
Yeah, like,
Which you are.
you are also. You
Am
started. No, but you started it. Just because you don't like actively search groups necessarily doesn't mean you're not in the circle.
That's true.
Because like I'd say you're like you're a pioneer.
Ooh.
But
And I guess that's how we became friends.
that is how it goes.
Yeah.
So I met you.
We met in February of 2022.
Yes. I don't know what happened, but you suddenly mentioned, oh, I like Thai shows or something like
Okay, yes.
that. Right.
That's always how I describe it.
Yes.
I never say BLs.
Yes.
Because I don't only watch BLs.
Yes, yeah.
We don't only watch BLs.
Yeah.
And Thai drama sounds intense.
It does sound. You said Thai shows, Thai series.
It's Thai shows, yeah.
And then it was kind of like not a stroke of luck, but kind of like, because I had just finished Bad Buddy.
Right.
And I was like, so I kind of like.
You had to rope me into this.
I was like, so did you watch Bad Buddy? And you had not at that point.
But I had watched many things that you hadn't.
Yeah, no. That was like the third Thai show I had watched in my life, and I've lived in Bangkok.
What were the first two?
Oh, I told Sunset about you and the sequel, I Promised You the Moon.
Okay. Cool.
The Bilk and PP ones?
Yes.
Yes. At that point, okay, so I'd only watched 3 at that time, and I really wanted to know more because I really like Bad Buddy.
Yep.
Yeah. So that.
Then obviously we started watching more shows.
Yeah, we started but I started with Korean ones with you because I was like, maybe we could get her into the Korean bandwagon.
Is that how we watched Business Proposal?
That is how we watched this also. Because if you saw my watch list at that point, it was all Korean. I had watched Korean BLs.
Which I had never.
Yeah, you had never.
So that was something new for me.
Yes.
Semantic error.
Classic.
Classic.
We want more. We want more
Yes.
Soham J-chan.
Season 2.
Season 2. So I'm Filipino. I was born and raised in Manila, but I moved to Singapore when I was 11. Then I moved to Bangkok.
Nice.
So I was 15 for high school.
Did you see the way things would go passing the GMM building?
Yes. Oh my god. I did tell you about that. So
Yeah.
of course. So that's the thing. I am now a big GMM fan, but on the school bus on the way home, I would pass the GMM building on Assault Road, and then I was like, "What the hell is this? I don't know what this is." I just saw GMM.
If only you knew.
I
You could have been in GMM.
know. Would have been a Thai star. Totally.
You could have been the foreign kid at college in one of the shows.
I could be the Luke.
Yeah. Yes,
I
you
could have
could
been
be
the
Luke.
I would have to say that fangirling has always been a part of my life. I don't know if it's learned or it's innate, but
I think it's both.
It's definitely both, because I definitely got it from my older sister, who she started me young with Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Spice Girls. But it's always been Western, because that's always been how. I think it's a class thing also, because you could not get those channels if you could not afford it.
I also think it's like an English-speaking thing.
It is also an English.
I think if you...
Oh yeah, the Philippines, Singapore.
Yeah, so if you... I always feel like if you came from a country in Southeast Asia that wasn't, like, not necessarily non-English speaking, but it's not the main language that you're all speaking, I feel like you're more likely to be in tune with local
That is
culture.
true. Yeah,
like
true.
Malaysia, I think, is a great example of this.
Oh yeah. English technically is a official language.
Yes, but I think there's a lot of interest in local music, TV, movies, which is why like Malay movies have always been a thing.
That's
Malay
true,
TV
that's
shows have
true.
always been a thing,
That's
even
true.
here. So I think it's all about
It's definitely socioeconomic.
Definitely. I think it's about being in tune with what's on an international level is perceived as being more educated.
Yeah, which is not true.
It is completely untrue.
But it's
just about exposure, honestly.
Exposure.
Yeah. I'd say for me, growing up, it was and still continues to be a lot of Western entertainment, pop culture, and also a lot of South Asian pop culture.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean, why don't you tell your background?
Okay, so I've been in Singapore my whole life.
That's not true.
Well, except for during uni, where I studied in the UK. And I feel like that made me more interested in Asian pop culture as a whole. I mean, I started watching Thai shows when I was in London, just because I think there was just so much English around me that I just wanted, like, okay, I just need to hear something else.
That's interesting.
And, you know, going through Netflix, I just thought, okay, you know what? I've never watched anything Thai that I could really remember. Let's just go with this. And that's sort of where it all began.
That's cool. Mine definitely came from, it was very Western. Up until I was like 18. I remember I had like an Anglophile phase where I was just all British. Doctor Who. I listened to like One Direction, The Wanted, The Saturdays.
You sound like 90% of the girls I went to
school with. Exactly, right? So that was me in high school. But then like literally like the month before high school ended, K-pop. I don't know how or why. I know how. I just saw one music video. But for some reason that just like that brought out the fangirl in me. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I 180'd my globe.
Right.
From east to west. Oh, west to east, sorry.
West to east.
Yeah. And so I was like, K-pop here. K-pop, I, to this day...
And you're still like this.
Yeah, no, because I don't have one Western artist or song in my playlist. If it's English, it's by an Eastern artist. Just doing an English song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're very different in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think even though we are like doing Southeast Asian pop culture, I do feel like I'm still very into Western.
That's good. It's good to keep it tuned.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I mean, pop culture is very intertwined.
Like,
we all build off each other. And there are times where some people will mention someone, I'll be like, who's that?
Who's that?
Yeah. Because
I feel that way a lot with you. When I try to talk to you about shows,
you're like,
or movies,
like,
I'm like, this
what?
person, oh my god, this thing, and you're like, oh, I don't know what this is.
I'm the same with Western ones. I remember when my friend was like, have you heard the new Olivia Rodrigo song? And I was like, who's Olivia Rodrigo?
Okay, that's intense. It's interesting because I feel like we actually have very different
backgrounds.
Yeah, and interests.
Yeah, definitely.
Yet at the same time, there's so much for us to talk about.
I know, no.
Yeah. And that's how we became friends.
Every time we meet, we're always like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I have something to tell you.
We always have a show. We always have a movie. We always have a celebrity. And this is all on top of talking about our own lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how do we keep up with ourselves?
Oh, we're just more exciting than we give ourselves credit for.
That is true.
I feel like, okay, so I'm going to talk from the Singapore perspective, just because that's obviously
that is your lived experience.
That is my lived experience. And I don't know if, you know, this is like everybody felt this way, but I know a lot of people did feel this way, where growing up in like the early 2000s, there was always this narrative of there's no talent in Singapore when it comes to music, when it comes to acting, which is completely untrue, because all the music movies that we would consume is never from here.
It's Western.
Yeah, or even if it is Asian, it would be like
Japanese, Korean, Chinese,
Taiwanese. Yeah, that's a huge one. Korean, obviously. Even Malay, I guess. And then if you are South Asian, obviously.
Oh yeah, Bollywood.
Yeah, and like other parts of India, depending on
where, like what language you speak.
Correct. So I always assumed wrongfully that we just never had like a music scene or a movie scene, which is and it's completely untrue. And then, you know, as you grow older, you learn from like my parents and other adults that actually in like the 60s and 70s there were thriving entertainment scenes.
Exactly.
And the interesting one was when I was in London last year or the year before, I was in like a random like record store, And I found this vinyl of like, it just looked very Asian. And I was like, okay, interesting. So I picked it up, and turns out it was from Singapore. And all of the songs, well, most of the songs were in Mandarin, but I was like, okay, so here we are getting appreciated in like a completely different country, completely different continent.
That's true. But
And-
like,
But here,
people.
you would
Yeah,
never
no,
find this.
exactly.
And there's no real... I mean, now I think with newer artists there is, but I think for so long, that support was not there. And I don't think it's entirely because of people. I think it's
No.
just the narrative and the way that things have appeared to us.
It's definitely the narrative. It's
Yeah. So my whole thing about Southeast Asian pop culture is that when I was young, it felt like it didn't exist. And now it's like, oh, actually, it's always been there. It's just...
a lot of things for people to appreciate it. It needs to find a niche,
Yes.
and then
correct.
from the niche, it grows, it builds.
For sure.
Like K-pop, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Korean music's always been there, but it only got
Yes.
popular because they carved something out for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So in my head, Korean music did not exist before 2008, which is not true.
Not true.
And that's only within Asia.
Mhm.
For so many other people in like different parts of the world, especially the West, like Korean music did not exist before Gangnam Style, which again is not true.
That's not true.
And then all of these like Western media was like, oh, it's his breakout. And I'm like, no, it's not. He's been around for a
he was
long
big
time.
in Korea
yeah, he was
before
already
Gangnam
there.
Style.
Yeah. So like now, at least in Singapore, I feel like we do have a music industry.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice that while it does seem to be very pop, hip hop centric, at least there is an industry
That is true. An
with
outlet.
people that actually have fans.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think it allows younger Singaporeans to be like, I can actually do that.
for sure.
Because then that didn't exist back then. Not that it didn't exist, it's more just like very rare was it supported,
Yeah.
both societally and I guess personally, because like you kind of ingrained the kids to not really believe because it didn't make money.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, for me, Southeast Asian pop culture is actually very localized and regional. I feel as a Filipino, you don't grow up with Indonesian stuff,
Really?
Singaporean stuff, Malaysian stuff. No, not really. You always just have your local telenovelas. Here, I guess because of how small Singapore is, it's more cosmopolitan.
For sure.
So then you have more regional influences, but I think that's a one-off. So I remember coming to Singapore and then hearing that a very famous Filipino telenovela called Pangako Sa'yo was being watched by like Malay people here. Which is, yeah. I remember being 11 going like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. I did not know that.
That's how I felt knowing that Bollywood was such a big hit with Malays in Malaysia and Malay people in Singapore.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
you
I
know.
guess we're all more similar than I
Yeah,
thought.
that's very true.
Yeah.
I would say Thai culture kind of dominates that part more, but each country still has its own like pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very localized or regional at best. You don't really hear about. I didn't hear about Thai stuff as a kid.
No,
I barely knew
neither
what
did
Thai. I barely knew what
Well,
Thailand was.
here I felt like it was like you just knew Thailand for horror movies. So there would always be like in my head, it was always like, okay, you watch Malay shows for like drama, maybe
There's always a gun.
drama or like romance, and then you go to Thai for horror movies because they're supposed to be like the best.
In Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're freaking scary.
Yeah, they are. So for me, it was always like this, and there was always like, okay, this is what you go to it for, but there was no generic pop culture of like, okay, there's so many different genres, there's so many different types of music or films. Or I'm sure there were, but they weren't like a thing here.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think of Southeast Asian pop culture now?
Now being more exposed to it, I'm actually very interested in it.
I mean, interested enough to start a podcast about it.
Of course. But I would have to thank East Asian pop culture for that, like Korean and Japanese, because it kind of took influence from that meteoric rise, especially from K-pop and K-dramas, because Korea became the world's comfort show in
which pop group is not trying to be BTS?
Exactly. So Southeast Asia, I saw before the pandemic when I was still listening to K-pop, and especially during.
Yes.
Wow, they've tried to K-popify themselves, and that kind of caught my attention. I don't want them just straight up copying, but it definitely caught my eyes, and I was like, oh, it made me see like the potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's always been so much of it.
There's been so much. It's just that
been harnessed.
I would say that a lot of just like culture in general, you don't pay attention to it until it catches your eye.
Yes.
There always has to be one thing. With K-pop, for me, it had always existed.
Yeah.
I just did not notice it until I saw Growl by EXO. And I was like, what is this? This is great.
Life-changing video.
This is great. Did you see it?
Of course.
Yeah, it was.
Of course.
It was so simple, but yet
it was enough. It was enough to generate interest in EXO.
Exactly. I became an EXO stan for like a good 2 months. I was like, there's so much more. 2023 is the first year that K-pop is not the top genre in my playlist.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've moved. And it is
Thai pop.
Yay!
So it started last year when I started watching Thai BLs.
Yeah.
My YouTube algorithm will just start showing me. I think it started with Thai OSTs. And then all of a sudden, like the first T-pop boy group like just appear on my timeline. Like, who is Atlas? And now I know, like...
Now you know.
Now I know. So Atlas was the first T-pop boy group I started listening to. I find Thai pop, they've Koreified themselves in like the whole boy group, girl group thing, but their sound is still very uniquely Thai. It's a lot more... I'm trying to describe it because I'm not a musician, but it's has a lot more... not acoustic. The vibe is a lot more mellow. Even though it's not acoustic, it has a more acoustic sound to it. And then the vibes are more what you'd hear in like a cafe.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I listen to... Because of Atlas, you watch one, your algorithm's gonna start feeding you. So now I listen to For Eve, and now I listen to Proxy, I listen to Purses. GMMTV just did a survival show.
Okay.
And
which is very Korean.
Yeah, it's very Korean actually. Because of that, there's now a new group that debuted in like May. I want to say May, June?
Right.
Their name's Lycan. Yeah, so now I listen to them. But we have to also talk about like the roots of Thai pop, which is a lot of bands like with a main singer, a drummer.
Yes.
That is still big in Thailand. That's just very big in Thailand. So then you cannot talk about T-pop unless you mention Tilly Birds, Three Man Down, Only Monday. Oh, what's the band from Together? Scrub.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
I think they're quite big.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, because they weren't together.
Yeah, they weren't together. Which, as we know, is like the biggest Thai BL.
Yeah. It's the BTS of BLs.
It is the BTS of BLs.
T-pop has definitely found its niche. Because I'd say thanks to BLs definitely help catch attention to like Thai culture. But once you're in it, you see a lot more.
For sure.
I like that I'm now exposed to it. It's great. And then I think for the rest of the region, they're also they're finding a similar rhythm to it. My sister, who still lives in Manila, she sent me a bunch of ppop, which I was like, that's a thing now?
Okay, which I didn't know about until you told me. Yeah.
So then I'm very excited about Philippine pop culture. And I listened to, I think, maybe like only a handful, because there's not a lot. I think Thai pop had an earlier head start. I don't know how or why. I'm not sure about the history of it. But so I listened to, I think my favorite boy group, it's between two. It's like BGYO and Alamat. I like Alamat because of the fact that they incorporate traditional Philippine influences into their craft. So the dance, the music, the lyrics,
right,
all that stuff. Even the outfits.
That's cool.
Recently, each song that they have been producing, the whole concept has like a specific like ethnic group or tribe that they're trying to like emulate. It's very interesting.
That's cool.
And yet it's very pop. Like it's not something that it's too traditional that like a kid wouldn't really want to listen to.
Yeah.
It's still very like pop.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I would say that's good to know because I guess a part of me always feels like if our region's pop culture is so or feels so influenced by foreign industries, does that mean that local and regional flavors
get like washed out,
will disappear? Yeah,
the whole globalization thing.
Yes, because I mean, if every pop group is gonna be like a K-pop group, then the only thing that's differentiating it is the language.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's nice to know that that's not really happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's cool.
How about you, Simi? What do you think about Southeast Asian pop culture now?
I think it's impossible to talk about Southeast Asian pop culture now without talking about BLs, specifically Thai BLs. Because I think
can't run away.
You cannot run away from it.
You cannot run away from it.
I mean, I started watching Thai shows back in like 2018, and it's been so interesting to see how popular they became during the pandemic, and now there's just so many, and you know,
it's hard to keep.
It really is. There's just so many shows now. There's so many companies.
GMM, I counted with my friend. GMM, if you don't know, that is the largest like media conglomerate in Thailand. GMM 2023, out of 20 shows, 10 are queer.
Yeah.
So.
Which is, you know, there's a lot. And when you watch any episode of these shows, you go through the comments and it's people from all around the world.
Like I remember just every time I watch something, Spanish, Portuguese. So a lot from like Latin America. And
a lot of Bahasa.
Yes. On Instagram, a lot of homegrown content is in Bahasa.
Honestly, Indonesia is the home of the real fans.
It is.
For everything. Even K-pop.
Yes, definitely.
Also, I feel like the popularity of Thai BLs has also led to more BLs coming out of other industries like Korea, for example.
Yeah, we have Korean BLs now.
Yeah.
They really took off in like during the pandemic. Funny though, because the concept of BLs came from Japanese manga. So it's like it came from that region already.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of going full circle because Thailand took the concept and ran with it.
Exactly.
And then they just now other countries are doing it. Yeah.
And it'll be cool to see like how, not just for BLs but also shows in general, how, you know, given that Thailand is probably leading our region in this, how other industries will follow.
You just need a hook. So it hooks you in, right? And once you're in, you are exposed to everything else. So you don't just watch BLs.
You watch other
I will
things.
not watch anything Thai if it's not two boys kissing. No.
That's not how we function.
No. You watch other shows.
Of
or
course.
you listen to Thai music. Or or you learn Thai like me.
Yeah. I look forward to that happening with Singapore someday.
Exactly. Singapore BL1. No, I'm kidding. There are, but
there should be more.
There should be more.
Yeah, we deserve that. So what do you want to do with our podcast?
So for this podcast, I definitely want it to be just a place where we can like vent feelings because we have so many feelings, so many opinions, so many feelings,
so many thoughts that we share with each other all the time.
That's basically
the basis of our friendship. Which is also what led to us wanting to start this.
I also want it to be kind of like a learning journey.
For sure.
I want it to be where, because we are by no means experts.
Not at all.
So then I want it to just be a place where we can also learn. Like we introduce each other to new things that we found. And I recently found one Vietnamese artist, and now I'm listening to Vietnamese. By no means am I a V-pop expert, but I know.
But you gotta start somewhere.
3 songs in Vietnamese.
I know 0, so we learn from each other. We also want to explore more within like our own cultures, more where we're from, and also other countries
that we want in Southeast Asia.
In Southeast Asia,
we want to.
I know nothing about pop culture in Cambodia or Laos or Vietnam, you know? So it'll be cool for us to see that.
And also, we just want to highlight and appreciate what we have in our own backyard, essentially.
Yep.
Also, we could do something where we compare.
Yeah.
Between pop cultures that we grew up with, like Western ones.
Yes.
And how they compare to the ones we have here. Yeah, because I have a lot of comparisons that I want to make.
And I look forward to hearing them. Okay, so thank you for watching and listening to us.
Thank you for watching the first episode of SEApopcast.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.